And in less than a quarter, you got $2 million in taker fees.
It's not comparable to any other ecosystem. You can't
Right.
say this with any other ecosystem.
We've seen stablecoin transfers on Osmosis go up from 4 to $50 million.
Historically, lots of things have been airdropped to Osmo stakers, and it doesn't seem like it's stopping anytime soon.
100x on a meme coin. Not financial advice, but which one?
I don't gamble much, but when I do,
Welcome to another interview. I think this is the first one that we have within the PYOR series, but great guest to start with. I'm joined with Aaron Kong. He's the strategy and growth lead at Osmosis. Aaron, how are you doing?
good, good. Just glad to glad to chat with you after seeing you guys kind of pump out good data about osmosis on Twitter. I think it was a good time to talk.
Great. Now, Aaron, just for the viewers, has a slight runny nose and messed up hair, but he's
Yeah,
good to go. He's calling
good to
in
go.
from Vegas.
Always
So,
good.
in the second casino in the world, the first one, of course, being Solana meme coins right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So, can we have a little bit of an overview of, say, the Cosmos Hub? In previous interviews, you've described it as some sort of a supply chain port, right? And I think that's a great analogy. But
Oh,
beyond
so the
that,
Cosmos Hub. So the Cosmos Hub is a blockchain itself. The Cosmos Hub is no greater or lesser of a blockchain than Osmosis at its core stack. It's not like Polkadot and its parachains. It's not like Ethereum to Uniswap. Cosmos Hub and Osmosis are on the same level. But if you're wanting me to like talk about like how IBC works and the Cosmos
right.
ecosystem, like the semantics are a little weird. Cosmos Hub blockchain layer one. Osmosis blockchain layer one. Cosmos is an ecosystem. Cosmos Hub is not Cosmos. Cosmos Hub just has a really confusing name, and it should really be like named like Atom Hub or something. Like it's not like very convenient to be named something, and just like everyone gets confused. So people think that, oh, like how do I bet on Osmosis? How do I bet on Cosmos? They go buy Cosmos Hub Atom. No, this isn't the case. If you want to bet on Cosmos, you buy Osmosis because Osmosis is the heart and the center and the lifeblood of the Cosmos. These shipping port things that I talk about in other podcasts. I have a few different analogies: shipping ports, Lego blocks. They all work, but yeah, the shipping port one is essentially like, how does the Cosmos ecosystem work? Like, what is an ecosystem? Well, an ecosystem is just like multiple communities, multiple blockchains, and multiple applications that all kind of bustle together and become this ecosystem. But what is the key aspect of an ecosystem, or one of the key aspects? It's seamless interoperability. So for the Cosmos, this is something called IBC, which is Inter Blockchain Communication Protocol. IBC. And what is IBC? It's essentially it's like, imagine you take a shipping port in some country like China, Shanghai, and then you go to the USA in San Francisco. These are two major shipping ports, right? And they all have oceans, and they all, traverse the oceans with their giant like ocean liners with these containers on them. But every single container is the exact same. So everything that gets shipped goes in a container. These countries, they don't speak the same language necessarily. They don't have to. They speak the same shipping language. They speak compartments. They speak boxes. And these boxes, as long as they're the same, these shipping ports can just send stuff to each other seamlessly. And then once it goes from San Francisco to Shanghai, it goes out that port, and that item, whatever is in the box, just goes out into China. No problem, because it was shipped over in that same standard mechanism. Same thing with like Lego blocks. Lego blocks are made to like a few microns of a difference. I don't know the actual number, but it's like incredibly small. And because they're so flawlessly made, you can take any Lego block in the world and put it on any other Lego block in the world, and it's gonna fit perfectly because Lego builds it to do that. The same thing goes with like bed sheets. King size beds, queen size beds, twin size beds. they're all the same standard size. Like kings are 76 by 80, queens are like 72 by 76 or something like that. I don't know the exact numbers. But when you buy a bed sheet, they always fit the bed that you buy it for because the bed sizes are all the same. So the standard of the size for the bed sheets are always the same. So you can take one bed sheet and move it to another bed, no problem, because assuming it's the right size. So it's like the original IBC team made this and baked it into the Cosmos tech stack so that this ecosystem could become the most interoperable ecosystem seamlessly out there. So it took a while for this to kind of catch on, but the vision has been hit. It is hitting terminal velocity right now. There are going to be over 100 chains probably like this month or next month. Right now it's at like some chains, maybe like 94 or something. 2 years ago, this was like 15 chains or something. It took a while to catch on, but the tech was ultimately chosen. And this is what DYDX chose. This is what Celestia chose. This is why Dimension launched in Cosmos, right? This is why Osmosis launched in Cosmos. I mean, Osmosis's original vision, current vision, was really the original vision of the Cosmos Hub, but the Cosmos Hub just never saw it through. And this is like creating the one-stop shop for everything and anything in all of crypto to allow everything to be interoperable, to have no barriers, to have like eventually like one-click anything from anywhere to anywhere for any purpose, whether it's you're sending money from someone in the USA all the way to Nigeria, or you want to trade an asset from Ethereum all the way to Polkadot. You navigate through Osmosis. It's one click anything to anything from anything. And also like we want to have everything as well. So not just all these Cosmos assets. And obviously we have, you know, a lot of the ETH or the ERC20 assets. Polkadot assets are on it. Cardano's coming, Ripple's coming, Stellar's coming, but Bitcoin is coming. And you know, there are Bitcoins on Osmosis, such as wrapped Bitcoin from Ethereum, wrapped Bitcoin issued natively on Osmosis from BitGo, Nomic BTC, Threshold BTC is coming, but we have our own bridge coming as well. And this is going to be twofold. The first fold is going to be a similar bridge like Nomic, except Osmosis selects the validators and Osmosis doesn't charge a fee. So it will be as cheap as any Bitcoin transaction. And then Osmosis will just cover the fee on our side. But the second stage of that will be native swapping, just like Thorchain. So you can deposit Bitcoin into a vault and you can swap it out on the other end for any other asset and it'll be native. And you can swap Ethereum through Osmosis and get Bitcoin on the Bitcoin network, just like Thorchain does it. But we're going to do it a little differently. But we're going to first roll out with the direct BTC bridging, similar to Nomics, and then we're gonna roll out with that native swapping. So yeah, it's like, you know, where did this all come from? The original vision of Cosmos is kind of what Osmosis is pursuing. It's like the everything app. You can do everything. You can launch anything. You can create anything. Interoperability is the name of the game, and Osmosis is seeking to simply facilitate and foster all of it.
Got it. That's a great overview of Cosmos, the IBC network, Cosmos Hub, as well as Osmosis. Now, you mentioned a lot of things that Osmosis is planning on doing, right? Bridging, native swapping, etc. In its current version under Osmosis Zone, right? There are a few sort of functions or services that is offered, similar to, say, a centralized exchange would, but on, of course, on a DeFi platform. So for example, you can swap, you can stake natively, you can use various financial functions, etc. In its current form, what is like sort of the most exciting financial function of Osmosis currently?
I think the most exciting thing currently would be the probably the supercharged liquidity pools. And it's because they're so capable of facilitating like incredible capital efficiency. I think one of the pools has had like $200,000 of liquidity in it, and it was doing like $3.5 million in 24-hour volume. You'll see like DYDX's pool at one point had like 150K in it. It was doing 100K in volume. So it's just incredibly capital efficient. And this is like hundreds of times more capital efficient than traditional V2 balance or XYK pools. I think we were able to jump to one of the most valuable end game mechanisms of bringing like concentrated liquidity to osmosis. Now, something that's going to come on top of that, probably maybe around like 2 months ish time frame. Don't quote me on that. Maybe longer, maybe sooner. Is order books on top of these CL pools, but these order books, like you can actually kind of game order books for yourself using the CL mechanism by just like setting some assets out of range at a certain range point, and then if it crosses that, it essentially acts as like an order book. We're gonna, our team's gonna create an actual order book product, however, so it'll just make it easier for everyone. Osmosis is doing somewhere around like how much a day? Like maybe 100 to 200 million in volume a day. Sometimes now, monthly, this is like, let's see, let me check the
It's over
website.
a billion, I
Monthly, it's
think,
like
from Jan and Feb and March. I'm
month.
sure it'll crack that.
Yeah. It's like over like around 2 billion a month right now, like 1.7 to 2 billion a month right now. So yeah, I think that's incredibly exciting. Something that launched today, like literally just today, is Astroport's PCL pools. And Astroport's PCL pools essentially are the midpoint between XYK pools and the concentrated liquidity pools, which would be way over here. And they're like 2 to 3 times more efficient than XYK pools, but not as efficient as the concentrated liquidity pools. So if you want to be a little more passive, you just put your assets in the PCL pools with Astroport, and you take a step back and relax. You might not get as much in APR, but you will get much more in relaxation. And this is like valuable. Like some people, like they don't want to go for the DGen APRs and like have to actively manage their positions. They just want to let it chill, and you can just let it chill in Astroport. And Astroport is a team that is a part of the Delphi team, and they're a group of studs and they crush it, and it's like really exciting to see them work and deploy on osmosis. So I think that's really exciting. Some other pretty awesome apps out there are there's Labana, their perps protocol that's on osmosis. There's a margin and then their power perpetuals, Quasar and their vaults. Stride works with osmosis all the time. There's Nolus as well with their DeFi leases. Yeah, so there's also like CalcFi, and you can DCA with CalcFi. There's TFM that has their pro trading UI. So yeah, there are lots of really exciting apps on Osmosis, but I think the supercharged liquidity pools, the concentrated liquidity pools, are the most exciting.
Awesome. Just want to take a step back and look at the revenue model of Osmosis, because it's a DEX and an app chain, right? DEX or an app chain, whichever way you want to call it. So DEX would sort of accrue revenue through swap fee, similar to say a Uni would or any other DEX would, and an app chain would or a blockchain would accrue revenue through transaction fees. Osmosis is a little bit of both, so it has both within it, right? Could you give sort of a split of how exactly these fees work? What is the share of each within the entire revenue pie? And then probably later, if you can, how do these fees accrue to, say, token holders directly or any stakeholders, whether it's LPs, stakers, etc.?
Yeah. So like, I think there's some semantics that are like chosen here. It's like, yes, Osmosis is a DEX-based chain, but like, well, I guess DYDX is the perfect example. Like they only care about one thing and one thing only, and this is their perps. Now, like Stargaze is another example. They only care about their NFT platform. But they're like, they're doing some extra stuff that like kind of strays from just NFTs. Like they're doing some like DeFi stuff with their NFT or platform. They're trying. I'm not really sure what the status is on that. But so like, like an app chain is just like this idea. It's not like something that's like set in stone. Like an app chain automatically, changes your tech stack. So, a Cosmos chain built on the Cosmos tech stack can be an app chain as what it's like encouraged to be. But it can also be monolithic if it wanted to be. it can do anything really. This is like the beauty of the Cosmos tech stack. You can be an app chain, you could be a monolithic app chain, you can do whatever you want. But most people like to specialize. On Osmosis, it is kind of getting in the direction of like, it is, meant to be a DEX, but there are lots of apps deploying on it, and it's spreading its tentacles and really having a lot integrated with it. There, whether it's like, all the apps that I listed off the other minute. So yeah, so like in its core, in its beginning, it was just like, straight up the DEX, right? And how does this DEX, accrue fees towards stakers of Osmo? Well, one, there are taker fees. All swaps have a 0.1% taker fee on them. So if you're doing like 100 million in volume on a single day, this will be something like $100,000 to stakers. So over a year, $100,000 times 365, whatever that is. So it's like it's quite a bit to stakers, right? So yeah, so like taker fees go to stakers. Currently, there's like something around like $7 million in protocol revenue accrued because taker fees are pretty recent, so they haven't really had time to ramp up. And they also kicked off in the bear market, I believe. So now that everything's flying, and we're averaging what, like maybe 2 billion in volume monthly, maybe more at this point. Taker fees should be quite high.
So our data shows that you introduced taker fees in, I think, October 23, and in less than a quarter of like last quarter, last year, Q4, you got $2 million in taker fees. So if your rate is at about 0.1%, then that's like roughly 100,000 times that, right? Which was the volume on top of that. So that's about 2,000 million, which is $2 billion was your volume on that 0.1%, about $2 million in taker fees generated only since October. You're right. So most of that was during, probably that was pre-Bitcoin, 50K, and not when the bull market is kicked off. So right now,
Yeah.
until whenever the market goes up, I think we'll see a lot more trading activity, right, on Osmosis. And of course, taker
Yeah.
fees are on. So that should result in a lot more revenue being generated for the protocol itself. So how do you
Mm-hmm.
think that will sort of, I mean, I'm sure that's a big catalyst going forward for you. How do you sort of bake that into the revenue model?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to bake it in, right? It's already there. It is there. Like it's not like we're like planning out this meticulous way to like how to like what algorithm creates the best revenue model. It's just get volume up, get more traders, volume up, more traders, more taker fees. Taker fees goes back to stakers, right? So it's like we just focus on more volume, and whatever brings us more volume and more traders, that's our North Star. So more tokens launching on Osmosis, all these teams launching like Initia, Avail, Movement, like Andromeda. There are like 70 teams we're chatting with right now that are all bringing their token to Osmosis, and this is just like from like the last like month. So the more tokens that launch on Osmosis, the more teams that collaborate with Osmosis and enter the Cosmos ecosystem, they're all going to be driving volume up. And this is good for the whole Cosmos ecosystem because the Cosmos needs a liquid ecosystem with every asset on it, so they don't have to leave the Cosmos ecosystem anymore, because the Cosmos is so seamless and cheap and quick and instantaneous. If we can just have every single asset in it, then we don't have anyone needing to leave. There are perps in the Cosmos. There's lending in the Cosmos. There's every kind of DeFi suite in the Cosmos. So if we just have every single asset, there's no longer a need to leave. So we're working on getting not just all the Cosmos assets, of course, but all these other assets bridged over to Osmosis. There are some plans as well to solve a lot of these problems. This is like a pretty big one that's like kind of alpha. Maybe I won't speak too much on it, but there are plans underway to resolve these bridge issues and concerns of like bridge risk as well. So basically, get every asset into the Cosmos, and then no one has to leave the Cosmos because it's just the best tech stack out there.
I love the fact that you're using the Cosmos as like this big sort of space, right? Which is exactly what it is. And there are various app, I mean, we call them app chains, but you can call them blockchains on top of it or built within it that allows people to sort of move around within, say, the IBC framework. So from an
Mhm.
understanding point of view, that's, I think, the best language to get this across. And I think you're just doing exactly that.
And the
And
thing is, like
us,
with the Cosmos, like it's not comparable to any other ecosystem. You can't
right.
say this with any other ecosystem. You can't say like just get this over into the Ethereum ecosystem. Like it doesn't work like that. It's on Ethereum and that's it. Um, for Cosmos, because everything is so interoperable, it's the only place you can say that. That's why it's really valuable. It's like if you like bring water from one location. Let's say like you bring like okay, that was a terrible example. I was gonna go with Dune, but I don't think that works. I was thinking of Dune. So like in Dune, have you seen the new Dune movie or the old
No,
one,
I
the
haven't.
first
I want
one?
to catch it, so don't spoil it for me.
Okay, no, maybe I will. Maybe I will. So like it's not a really big spoiler. So basically, like, they're on this desert planet, and this is not a spoiler, and water is very scarce on this
Right.
desert planet, right? So like if you just bring water from another world and you bring it to this world, you know, it's interoperable anywhere. You can move it from city to city, house to house, cup to cup, body to body. If someone dies, you siphon their water out from their body and you steal it. It's like as long as you bring anything into the cosmos, it's there and it's good to go. It can be used anywhere. It can be used amongst competition, which is fine. Like competition is fine. Just get it into the cosmos and everyone can compete. It's like, Noble brought USDC into the cosmos, and now USDC is being used by 100 chains probably. Well, I don't know about all 100, but like, it can be. So it's like, you just bring these assets over and they're going to seamlessly fly between these chains, and you let the people do it with it whatever they want to.
Yeah,
But like this
the
doesn't it's
no.
not possible in other places. It's like you can't just say like bring it into the polka dot, right? Like it doesn't really work. And no one even uses polka dot. So it's.
Speaking on that Noble point, I think Noble was brought in USDC in November, and we've seen stablecoin transfers on Osmosis go up from $4 to $50 million just on stablecoins, right? So that's huge. It's like a 12x growth. This must
Yeah.
have been like incredibly important for from an Osmosis sort of liquidity standpoint to have stable swaps, right? Are there any plans to get, say, any more non-Cosmos assets into the Cosmos, or how do you look at that?
Any more non-Cosmos assets? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Any assets that aren't
Like,
on Cosmos that like a stable coin would help from a liquidity perspective, anything like
oh
that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like we want to get every asset into the Cosmos on Osmosis, whether it's like Arweave or like Cardano or like Ripple, Stellar. They're like each one has its own individual solution. Axelar's bringing a few of them over. Union and Composable are bringing some of them over. Yeah, we want to bring all of them over for sure.
So from a launching perspective, like within the Cosmos, right? I see that a lot of, say, app chains or blockchains that want to build on top of Cosmos or build within Cosmos rather, they have, say, a liquidity issue, which Osmosis does solve for maybe during token launches because they all have native tokens, right? And you provide, say, token liquidity to them, Osmosis does. So I wanted to understand how does that work,
What
especially from, say,
liquidity issue are you referring to?
so if a protocol will, if a protocol will launch within the Cosmos ecosystem, they of course need their own native token within it. And I read somewhere that Osmosis on the B2B side provides sort of this liquidity for token launches. Just wanted to understand how that works
Oh,
and how, from a revenue standpoint, that accrues to, say, your revenue.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So like historically in the past, there have been times where Osmosis has supported a tokens launch. Maybe it's like Axelar or Mars or Stargaze. But this is, largely in the very beginning of Osmosis. These jobs of these teams and these protocols to bring their own liquidity. It's like giving someone a house for free and then also giving them all the furniture for free. It's like, hey, like, like we built a tech stack. We're gonna help you pick like we're gonna help you like do everything and explain the tech side, but ultimately you have to probably bring your own liquidity because there's only so much liquidity to give away for free. Osmosis in the beginning, did this strategically to get things rolling. And for some strategic assets, it still will do this, but it has to be mutual. For example, it's like I think tomorrow there's going to be a proposal going up to pool like $1 million of Axelar with $1 million of Osmo in an Astroport PCL pool. This is like very alignment based. So it's like Astroport and Axelar and Osmosis now get to align with this one initiative. And Axelar's price action has, over 2 years has been pretty stable. Their token is doing great, and they're not going to dump on Osmosis and Osmosis community. So this is like a pretty logical proposal to request from the community pool. Same thing with like DYDX. They're clearly a very powerful community, and their team is a powerful team, and their token is not dumping anytime soon. And they're a tried and tested project. So I think pooling with them is strategic and logical. Same thing with Celestia. So these make sense, but it doesn't make sense to give away like $500,000 to a new token that you don't know what their community is. You don't know what's going on with their like vestings and what's going to happen over the next 2 years. It's just better to play safe. But like sometimes like this is up to governance ultimately. Like I have no say in this. So if governance wants to give away and pool money with some like a random new project, it totally can. And this is the beauty of governance and decentralization and osmosis. It has a community, and the community has a good head on it, and the community will decide.
Solid. I think that sort of sums up the fact that, Osmosis as a hub within, and a lot of spokes within it, right? So you pick the spokes that you want to partner with, can provide liquidity to the IDX, Celestia, etc. And the ones that you don't would not benefit the Cosmos, you probably won't. And that's a good way to think about it.
I think like it would benefit like most things would. It's like things have to benefit osmosis as well.
Of course.
It just has to make sense. It has to be strategic. So I think each one is like a case by case scenario.
Understood. From a token holder's value perspective, right? Now I wanted to think about it from their perspective and see that, okay, if I hold the Osmo token, I know the Osmo token is of course staked natively. How, and of course by virtue of the fact that I hold the token and Osmosis provide liquidity to various protocols or app chains within Cosmos, they of course don't. That's not a necessity for an airdrop, but that's a that's or might be a prerequisite for, hey, you guys are giving us liquidity. We would like to possibly give you tokens. So from a token holder's sort of valuation standpoint, do you think that that's something that they would think about or bake into sort of their valuation of the token itself?
I mean, some people definitely think about this, like if someone thinks that they can get airdrops by holding and staking Osmo, then I would imagine this is like a part of their decision in acquiring Osmo. Historically, lots of things have been airdropped to Osmo stakers, and it doesn't seem like it's stopping anytime soon. It's not financial advice, but yeah, it's definitely relevant. You should consider all variables. You bet on the community, you bet on the team developing behind it, you bet on the apps building on osmosis, you bet maybe on airdrops, you bet on taker fees, you bet on the volume on the decks, you bet on the innovation that's happening on osmosis, you bet on the future innovations coming, you bet on the Bitcoin bridges coming, you bet on the new product suites coming, you bet on the cosmos. If you want to bet on the heart and the soul of the cosmos, you bet on osmosis.
Got it. Final question, just to wrap up. We see that natively on the app itself, right? You partner with over 10 app chains directly. You mentioned a few of them, Mars, Vana, etc. Anything that is your favorite to use?
If I don't get to pick like something that the Osmosis Foundation development team built, then I would probably go with probably Lavana. I think I think perps are pretty interesting. Very degen. I don't gamble much, but when I do, it's kind of I think perps are a good place to gamble and be a little degen.
100x on a meme coin? Not financial advice, but which one?
I think their max is 30x, but you could 30x.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks, Aaron, for chatting with us. I think we've got a useful conversation on understanding the osmosis ecosystem within the cosmos itself. And I think semantics play a big role in this. And you've clarified at each point what you mean when you say certain things. And I think that's more important when you talk about, say, the cosmos than any other L1 or L2. Really great talking to you, really great understanding of osmosis. Just as a final fill, could you just tell people how they can reach out to you, whether it's through Twitter or any other social app that you use?
Yeah, you can message me on Twitter, Aaron X Kong. Same thing on Telegram.
Great. Thanks a lot, everyone.